Hi, I'm Katie Howe, and I will be presenting on the influence and integration of tattoos in the workplace. To start out, I have some statistics, which are very mind-blowing statistics, actually. 45 million Americans in the United States have at least one tattoo, and $1.65 billion are spent annually on tattoos by Americans in the United States. There are 21,000 tattoo parlors in the United States, and that equals out to be about 420 parlors per state. That might not seem like a lot, but if you average out, in a larger city, there could be 20, and that's a lot of different tattoo parlors to choose from. It's essentially like they're as prevalent as fast food. And then 14% of the total American population in the United States have at least one tattoo. And I chose to do this topic because it personally affects me in my day-to-day life. I have tattoos, I have a nose ring, I have gauges, personal choices, but before too long I will be in the professional workplace, and I wanted to see how this would affect me and what I need to do to be successful in my future. Some pros of tattoos in the workplace that I found is personal experience, self-expression, and creativity. People really like to talk to you about your tattoos. I'm in the service industry, so people really enjoy seeing my tattoos and asking me what they're all about, which could cause repeat business. It causes diversity in the workplace, which is always a good thing. And it also, certain industries embrace body art, like the entertainment industry, the service industry thrives on it. It's a part of the culture. And a lot of nonprofits and jobs in the arts, it's very common to see people with tattoos, and usually they're praised for it. There have been advancements in technology, which means that tattoos are being more professionally done and nicer to look at. So it's not like a tattoo that you just got done in your friend's basement. The ink and the machines are very advanced now, so pretty much anywhere you go, you're going to get a very nice tattoo. And they are actually becoming more socially accepted among people in the workplace. I know that there have been a few companies that have actually changed their policies to allow their employees to have tattoos in the workplace as long as they're not discriminatory or offensive to anybody, which is pretty crazy because, think about it, 20 years ago it was pretty unacceptable for anybody to have a tattoo in the workplace and to have it visible. And then there are a few cons, naturally, of having tattoos in the workplace. The huge one is it's a social stigma. It can decrease your chances of getting a job. A lot of people tend to think that kids covered in tattoos are just punks or part of a gang. So they would say, you're not getting a job here. You're just some entry-level job person. You wouldn't really want to walk into a meeting with a lawyer and see them covered in tattoos because you wouldn't take them as seriously, which brings me to my next point, that you could be looked down by the traditional company. They want you to be covered up. They don't want all that to show. I have personally went and applied for jobs forgetting that I had my nose ring and that this tattoo was showing. And they said that we don't need your look here, which was, I didn't realize how unprofessional that could come off. And it was even in the service industry. I went into a fine dining restaurant to try to get a job and couldn't get it because of my tattoos. And also in the professional workplace, if you go to a meeting with a certain client or with a business and they see that you have a tattoo, they could not want to do business with your company because of the way that you represent the company. They might think because you have tattoos and piercings that the company isn't as serious as it really is, which is sad, but it's a reality. And you could also receive like less advancement within your company. You could just start off, say, at a bank and be a teller and have one little visible tattoo, and they wouldn't want you to move up higher and higher and higher, to have to like deal with like the serious business things and like going to corporate meetings, because you wouldn't be taken seriously. It's really the biggest con in some is it's a social stigma. Like, yes, it is becoming more socially acceptable, but there are so many businesses that simply don't allow tattoos to be visible. If you're in the professional workplace, being in the service industry, I'm lucky because it's totally acceptable to have tattoos showing. I mean, if I had a tattoo on my face, I don't think that would be acceptable, but having the little tattoos that I do have and how subtle they are, I'm thankful for that, but I need to think of my future and take it a little more seriously and cover them up and take out my piercings because I do want to be successful. And you could potentially move into a business that when you're getting interviewed, you might want to cover up your tattoos and take out your piercings, but you find out that they're very accepted, of showing tattoos and basically showing creativity. Because I know there are certain businesses like that out there. And actually, my father is very high up in his company, and he actually has tattoos all the way from right here down here on both arms. And he wasn't even thinking because he runs a mechanical garage, but he also is the head of that department, so he has to meet up for corporate meetings with the owner of the entire company present. And he wasn't thinking that he had a meeting after he was working in the garage, which he was wearing a shirt that was short sleeved, so his tattoos were exposed, and he really wasn't thinking about it to put on like a nice dress shirt. He just went as is, and he realized when he was sitting in the meeting that he forgot to put that shirt on and started to freak out a little bit. And he actually, after the meeting, he had to have a separate meeting with the owner about certain matters, but at the end of that meeting, the owner actually complimented him on his tattoos and said that they were very nicely done, and that he likes that he can tell what kind of person he is, like, judged on what he has on his arms, which I found that to be very cool because, I mean, that's a big deal, owner of a company commenting on your tattoos. One of the first times he met him, mind you. So he was very nervous, but then realized how accepting. I mean, this was a traditional, completely old school, older man. He wasn't some young 20-year-old complimenting him on his tattoos, which I thought was pretty cool because that just shows again that things are changing. It's the 21st century. Our generation is changing a lot of social norms that are out there about tattoos and being creative and showing who we are. And I believe, like, based on my research, that before long it's honestly really not going to matter as long as the tattoo isn't discriminatory, because obviously nobody wants to see that. And that would offend anybody, no matter if you're covered in tattoos or don't have any tattoos. So based on my research, I essentially learned, like, when you go to an interview, cover it up until you learn that it's okay to show your tattoos, and that they're just becoming more and more accepted. And I even read an article about the executive editor of the New York Times. She was a female, the first in 160 years. She was actually named one of the top 5 on Forbes' list. And she was covered in tattoos, pictured in many photos in the newspaper of her with her tattoo showing. Like, she had sleeves, and she was essentially top of the company. I mean, she was named one of the top most powerful women in Forbes, which is a very big deal. And that was just a few years ago. So that just also shows how accepting they are starting to become, even at such a powerful position, and not just entry-level jobs and, like, being in the service industry as a young kid like me. which makes me happy to know that things are changing and they are just becoming very, very accepted nowadays. And I found this research to be extremely informative and very fun. Thank you.